Hey, welcome to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where women business owners reclaim their power in the digital world. We shatter the myth that cybersecurity is too complex to master and transform protection strategies into clear, actionable guidance. This is your digital empowerment sanctuary, where cyber fear becomes cyber confidence. Whether you're protecting client trust as a therapist or safeguarding financial data as an advisor, you'll hear from women founders who've conquered digital challenges and security experts who speak your language. Every woman leading a business deserves to feel unshakable in her digital decisions, no matter her technical background. Are you ready to stop letting cybersecurity intimidate you and start letting it elevate you? Here's your host, Rachele Schainker.
Welcome back to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where we talk about practical ways women can protect themselves, their business, and their futures in our increasingly digital world. I am your host, Rachele Schainker, a Silicon Valley technologist, as well as owner-operator of award-winning managed service provider, CMIT Solutions, based in San Mateo. Welcome to another episode of the Cyber Savvy Woman. Today on the Cyber Savvy Woman, I'm joined by Amy Fregosi, an incredible designer, owner of Mondolfo Interior Design. She is known for creating spaces that are not only beautiful, but intentional and designed to inspire creativity, comfort, and confidence. Amy brings a unique perspective on how our physical environments influence productivity and peace of mind, both in business and at home. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Rachele. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Of course. Amy, I'm really looking forward to learning about your journey. What inspired you to become an interior designer? Was there a defining moment or something influenced you in your early years?
I always had a high level of creativity. My mother used to tell me that I marched to my own drummer. As a child, my most creative Halloween costume, I decided I was going to be a plant. So when I was a little girl, I used to build furniture, and I remember being really frustrated because I'd want to build like little stools and things like that. And I would have hammer and nails and pieces of wood, but I didn't know how to cut wood, and I didn't know how to fasten my legs to my seat bottoms. And, so I always had these traits and these common tendencies that a lot of creatives have, like mixing colors, wearing colors that were maybe not commonly accepted combinations. But, I would wear like orange and purple, and people would be like, wow, that's strange, but it looks great, and things like that. But as I got older, when I lived on my own, I would decorate my own apartments and things like that. And I remember my aunt telling me, hey, Amy, I think you should look into interior design. And I'm like, why would I do that? I can just do it, little smug, but I just didn't think of it as a career. So fast forward to many, many years later, as my remodeled with my ex-husband several homes and all the businesses that we had, I did almost always the interiors. And then my son was going into high school, and I was like, I need to find something to do, because I was a stay-at-home mom at that point. I need to find something to do. And, my kids start growing up, it's like 4 or 5 years, and then, they're not around anymore. So I wrote 3 things I like to do on a piece of paper, pro and a con list for each one, interior design one out. And then that same day I went and I researched schools, and then I found a school to apply to, and then the rest is history. So
that's awesome. Has your design philosophy evolved from when you first started and where you are today? You noticed any changes from when you first went through school?
Well, interior design is actually an extremely technical job. So it's just not putting decor together, but I have to know how systems work. I have to know really a lot about everything, all the different products, how things work together. I have to know I have to have an excellent idea of what goes in behind a wall, what's behind something that you want to change, how things go together, how to work with architects, how to work with general contractors, how to manage projects, and not to mention the thousands of details that come into, like when you're specifying kitchens or bathrooms, or, and I've also designed custom furniture. There's literally so many details that go into that. And that's why there's a lot of craftspeople that do these types of jobs, because it takes a lot of skill to be able to create and make these things. And so now I've even ventured into construction project management as well. And it's just, you can never know enough. And there's always things to learn. And every single project you learn from it. So it's never a boring job, but it's incredibly detail oriented, much more so than, just putting this and this together. And we're like, okay, how should it look? I have to know a lot more than that.
Were there any challenges that you faced as a woman building your business, and how do you navigate them? Do you have any tips or tools you can share with me?
Perseverance is key. The most important thing is to be consistent, to be excited to get up every day. There's never, ever a day where I'm reluctant to get up and approach my day. But you have to have courage to be an entrepreneur. And part of that courage is to be open to the unknown, because you never know what's going to happen to you as a business owner, or the obstacles that you have to overcome. And you really develop, I want to say, good roots and a good foundation, and the belief in yourself that, you just never stop. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, even if it feels like you are not, you might be not exceeding your perceived growth that you want, but you're still growing, just showing up every single day and forging forward. And I think what has been very key for me is having a mindset where you're open to learn. It doesn't mean you're not going to be frustrated, but you need to be pliable and able to shift and pivot pretty quickly as a business owner. And then I think the most amazing thing that I've experienced is, I have a perceived boundary, and I think I could never, ever go past this boundary. Well, being self-employed, you get pushed past that boundary, and then you hit another obstacle and you're like, I could never go past that boundary. And you go past that boundary, and that can in continuum. And what you find is that you're going to be okay. And you will, the ability to keep continuing on past boundaries will help you really grow as a person. And that's, I think, the most exciting part. It's really just about being consistent and showing up. And then I get to meet wonderful people like you, Rachel.
I know. That's what I was going to say too, is that
we have a kindred spirit.
Yes, as a woman business owner, I mean, I think really leaning in on other women business owners and learning from them and supporting them, that has been, for my own personal journey, something I wasn't planning for, but a very unexpected plus that, I've loved watching other business owners, women business owners succeed. So thank you for that, Amy. How do you balance creativity and structure in your work? Do you have any rituals or routines that kind of help you stay inspired, or how do you go through your day?
Being a designer, a lot of that is structure, because it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of details. When you are filling out your interior design management software and putting the items that you've selected in your library, you have to put quite a bit of detail in there. So that's kind of like schoolwork in a way. It's just about looking at all the details. But when I find when I get into like the creative zone where I'm doing material selections, I like to listen to music, and music that makes me happy. So sometimes I might sing or sing, or just those types of things like that just make my creative juices roll. And just kind of bring me a little bit of peace to my day are really helpful. So
Amy, what role does technology play in your design process?
Technology is everything, and it's primary and it's key and it's important, because there's absolutely nothing that I can do in my day or how that my business functions, and most, well, everything in our industry functions quite a bit with technology. So yes, you can go physically select items from a showroom, but a lot of the times we're not doing that. We have design management software where we input everything so that we can build out room boards, we can build out invoicing proposals, purchase orders, keep all the way to keeping track of the financial roles of the business. And what's most important, which I have discovered, is really having a secure system. So that way your computer is protected from nefarious entities trying to take you down. Or when you're searching for something unique and you just happen to go to an unsecured website, and there is a maybe hacker or someone unpleasant waiting to hack into your system. And also something else that has been instrumental is having a password protection program, 2FA on everything, as well as an authenticator, because all those layers add protection. So I do not have any password replicated anywhere like I used to.
Yeah, you're very good about that. You're very good about your password management.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So we're going to go back to your interior design practice, but in your experience, how do our surroundings influence our mental clarity and productivity? Especially for, maybe there's women entrepreneurs that are working from home. Is there something they could do in their design space to kind of help them keep it clear and separate from the laundry and the kitchen situation?
Well, your interior environment is extremely important. Human beings spent hundreds of thousands of years outside. We're mostly inside now, but we've spent hundreds of thousands of years outside. So we are biologically wired, actually in our DNA. And there is a lot of research on this as to how symmetry, asymmetry, all the different designs in plants, everything, we are biologically wired to recognize that. So when you walk into a space and you feel that it is off, it is because it is. And you may not notice exactly what it is that makes you feel uncomfortable, but your body does, because biologically your vision is tacking on to all of the balance and the symmetry and what feels good, what your brain just knows, what we just know. And there's an actual term for it. I can't recall the term, but it has to do with like our wiring. I actually just went to a talk on it, but it's really important. And what you can do the first thing you can do to help your space feel different from your home is to give yourself, even if you're in a kitchen, make sure that space is cleaned. So maybe it's organized so that way you can not have to be lured to do other types of cleaning because your workspace area is clean and organized every time you sit down to work. You may have some signage, or maybe you're going to have like a flower or a rock or whatever it is, and you're going to turn that to let your family members know that you're working and that they need to respect that quiet space for you because you might be on a call or doing something important. So they need to respect that. And then if you personalize your space with little touches that help you ground yourself for work. So that's helpful. And also showing up, maybe you might be wearing shorts, but wear a blouse or something is helpful. But, when you're working at home, it is hard to get into the mindset of a working mindset. So it's really important to maybe you allot periods of time for that. But outside of that, if you could create that area and spend a little time making it a work area, and maybe before you start work, you clear the clutter so that way it doesn't call you. That would be helpful.
I had challenges working from home because I would get distracted, and I come to the office now because it's like I'm not distracted by that stuff. So, but I understand not everyone has that. So you're right to create that little area, keep it clean. And I loved your tidbit about having a little a rock or something or a plant that you can be like, okay, I'm on a call.
The visual cue. Yeah.
Yeah, visual cue. Perfect. Yes. Yeah. Um, I mean, maybe this happens, maybe it doesn't for you. How do you handle creative blocks or self doubt when they show up? What do you do? I know you're very mindful. So, what's your tips on that?
Sometimes it's hard to get into the creative mindset because when you're doing a lot of detail work, it's a complete shift to a different part of your brain. How I handle that at times when I'm feeling stuck is I go outside and I walk. So it could just be for 30 minutes or what have you. Another thing that I do very huge in my life is listening to music. There's certain types of music that kind of put me into like a trance state, meaning like I'm not like a zombie, but they have a certain beats per minute that help me really ground myself and get me into that mindset. Once I start, I don't want to stop, but there are times I find it's hard to begin being creative. But if I just like setting your workspace into your home where, you are shifting into work, I have to sometimes shift into creativity. So I have to play little games with myself. And that might be even going and getting just something to drink, listening to some music, going on a short walk. And then I say to myself, okay, I am reset and now I can start being creative.
Nice, nice. I like that. Looking back, what would you tell your younger self when you were just starting out? Any words of wisdom, like anything? And I know that's always a interesting question because sometimes people ask me, what would you do differently? And I don't look backwards, right? I only look forwards, but maybe there's like one or two little tidbits that you would remind your younger self.
I think I would have started earlier instead of starting later. But what I would have told myself was have faith in your intuition, be authentic always in your design and how you approach your clients, and never ever lack the confidence because all that creativity really comes from here, these two areas, your heart and your brain. And have faith and confidence in your vision, and don't let anybody dissuade you from your vision. I mean, there are times I have to tell people, no, we're not going to do that because, because I have a vision and all the different pieces go together. If we take one section out, I have to redo it all. So it is really important to know yourself and feel grounded. And I think I would just go back and say, why did you ever feel unconfident?
Yes, you have it in you, right? Was there one project that kind of changed how you see your work or yourself? Like something that you like produced and you're like, wow, like I didn't know I had it in me.
A big impact. There was probably two things I did that had a big impact. One is I was remodeling our family restaurant, and the wrong wood was delivered, and this wood was going to be applied on our walls and in our booths and things like that. And it was a yellow based wood, and the wood I had ordered, the species, was a red based wood. So I had to change everything. And because time and money and all that were on the line. And, I took this very seriously because, we had lots of subs in there. Within what normally would have taken me probably like a month or whatever, taking my time and being very careful, I had to change everything in the span of about 7 days. Every single selection had to be changed. And so what that taught me is that you can speed design. You can do it confidently. And what I also did is I asked some of my vendors who know more about their products than I do. And I told them what I needed, and I allowed them to narrow down things for me to look at. And that helped me make fast decisions. So that was pretty pivotal.
Yeah, you're vulnerable with them and ask for help, right? You knew when it's not saying that you didn't know how to choose it, but like lean on your partners that can help you speed it along.
Well, they're the experts, and they know their products and all the things that they have. So it's okay to rely on them instead of you just digging. And the other thing I did that I really enjoyed was I drew sofas and an ottoman and tables that had recessed wheels and some also poofs that had storage. I drew all of that, ordered all the fabric, worked on all the details with a custom cabinet maker, and it had it built and then delivered to the client's house. And that was I was pretty proud of that. That was a really a fun job. Everything I did in that house was absolutely custom out of my head. So that was pretty fun.
That's cool. If you could design any space in the world with no limits, what would it be and why?
Okay, so I'm envisioning right now probably somewhere really fun, an island somewhere, but where it had our home is going to have like a modern jungle vibe. So yeah, as indoor outdoor, we're going to have an expansive deck, and probably with some wellness items, sauna or like a hot spa, hot sauna, or hot tub type thing out on the deck. Lots of wood, but the colors inside to be soothing, greens, some yellows, probably some coppers, blues running through, everything to be soothing. Kind of think like maybe a resort, somewhere tropical, maybe, mid-range. So people coming and vacationing with their families but everything would just be lots of wood, comfortable, casual, but with an elevated feel. I think that would just be really fun, and just to have that indoor outdoor vibe, and
I can just feel it, right? I can feel that wind coming off the ocean. So yeah, no, I can totally see an Amy designed resort would be beautiful.
it would be. Any takers out there?
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're going to pivot back quickly here for a little technology questions, but we talked about maybe how the tools that you use. Have you seen a shift towards smart spaces or connected technology in your clients' homes or offices? Like, are you leveraging that, like the refrigerator that will, send you your shopping list or something? Or what's your take on that type of?
A lot of people are incorporating smart technology into their homes. Some, the refrigerator, and that's just, they use that to make lists and things like that. Depends on the size of their families and how complex their lifestyle is. A lot of people, it's just more, they're taking security cameras and they're incorporating that to a home app where they can, before they arrive home, they can turn the lights on, off, or they can set an ambient experience when they walk in home. Let's say if it's later in the evening, they might want the lights dimmed, maybe soft music. I do have clients that do like the oven, a smart app oven. So that way they can turn the oven on their way home from the grocery store and get it warm so they can pop whatever it is in there. But for the most part, it's more for the main function of the home with the electrical and the safety of an alarm system and cameras, motion sensors, things like that.
As a business owner, what is one tech tool that you can't live without? What do you rely on?
My tech tool that I can't live without, that I rely on, meaning like could be like my phone or like something program.
Are you laptop or your phone? Yeah, which one are you? I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I'll ask.
It would probably be the phone. Well, this is not a phone; it's a computer. But yeah, well, what's the greatest thing is that when you're leveraging this out in the field, you can measure with it. You can, take photographs, change them. You can upload them into your Drive or your Dropbox. You can send information very quickly. there's a lot of apps that are so incredibly helpful for my type of job. There's apps that can tell you what type of color is on the wall. Like if you don't know, I don't have my color palettes with me. I can, look in and it can give me a good idea so I can start narrowing that down. Uh, there's so many capabilities in here, and just it being handy on the job site. So if you're trying to explain a concept to a client and they aren't able to visualize or picture it, you can look in here, do a quick search, and then it just pops up and shows them. And then like, okay, I understand now what you're trying to explain to me. So there's a lot in here that's very useful, and including I use ChatGPT a lot as well.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully the private one, right? So you're not sharing all your insight.
Well, you'll have to teach me that.
Yes, we'll protect you. What do you think of small business owners, especially in the creative fields, often overlook when it comes to protecting their own digital work? Is that something you think about, or is it kind of like, well, it's just out in the ethers, or, do you watermark your images and your designs, or do you just kind of let it be?
I used to do that, watermark. However, I let that go because that can just be modified in Photoshop and some of the other very, very many programs out there. The most important thing I did for myself is I did trademark my business name, and also the logo. So I felt like that was important to preserve and maintain my work and myself as a creative, because I am my work. And I needed to do that just to make sure that I had longevity, and there wasn't the ability for someone to come in and take my identity from me that I've worked so hard and so many years to build, because there are people that have their identities stolen, and not meaning your name, but when they steal your business identity and they lock you out of that, that is something that's unacceptable, and that really can ruin your livelihood. And so that's why I did that. But as far as people using my images, there are photographers who probably have sweepers out and they look for people that use their images without permission. But I just don't do that. I decided to adopt that if someone wants to use my image, that is a compliment.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I had another client who was designing similar. She was doing some t-shirts and she really wanted to trademark all of them. And I was like, part of me understood like that desire to want to trademark your work, but part of me was like, in this day and age, it's like, do you want to focus on creating or protecting? And I kind of was trying to let her be like, gotta let it go. Like now everything is so mushy, and it's like, I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum in a way, because I mean I do get it. It's like some people don't, I mean, you're pretty open about sharing. You share your work and your projects on Instagram and Pinterest. Is that for a marketing point of view, or are you doing it for to share, or what's the thought behind when you do share on Instagram?
My thought process is I don't really get clients per se from Instagram. It's like a big portfolio. I put myself out there because I want people to know who I am as a person. Because when you hire a designer or someone that's creative, you're hiring them, because all the creativity and the design knowledge is inside here. It's not elsewhere. So you're hiring me as a person. So it's really important that you feel like you get to know me a little bit and see what I can create, what I can, dream up. But, I haven't put anything out that's really conceptual per se, except for like, I did some design boxes, but
I enjoy it because I always like to see what you're working on, and to see your before and afters are always great. So I appreciate that. Amy, you are one of my best cyber savvy customers. You take cybersecurity very seriously, which I appreciate. I know you had a tech scare a while ago and we kiboshed it, and we don't need to delve into that, but I do appreciate how cognizant you are about security. Is there some advice that you would give other designers or small business owners about being more cyber savvy? What would you suggest they do?
Well, I suggest that you take it seriously. If this is your investment and this is your primary source of earning money, I would say you take this seriously, get some software protection, or hire a person like Rachel from CMIT and have her company put some management software on there so that way no one can, like I call them nefarious entities, enter and take over your livelihood, because I'll tell you, you don't ever think it's going to happen to you. You're too small. No one knows who you are. You're just some random person. It can happen to you. And you want to prevent that. You don't want to have a lapse in time, yourself being able to make money, because you don't know what stage you are in your business. And it could be very precarious, and someone coming in and taking over your business through a security weakness would be absolutely devastating. So don't think that you're too small for someone nefarious to find you, because they can. And if you have a weakness, they will find it and exploit it.
Yeah, that's what I always say. You're not too small to be hacked. You're too small to make the news.
Yes. I love that.
All right. So now we've come to our tech rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and like you tell me your first thing that pops in your mind. What is the favorite app that you open in the morning? First app you open?
Instagram.
Okay. And Mac or PC?
PC.
Canva or Adobe?
Canva.
And most used emoji?
That would probably be the heart, the pink heart.
Yeah. Text, call, or voice memo?
Well, I started doing that recently. Quite a bit. Yeah. All right. Well, overall text, but I started doing more voice memos, and I'm enjoying that.
And we kind of touched on this earlier, but one gadget you'd take to a desert island, I guess, would be your phone.
Yes.
Anything else you would take with you?
Just that.
Just the phone. Okay.
Oh, and probably my AirPods.
There you go. Perfect. Yes. Favorite social media platform for design inspiration? Is there somewhere you go online that you like?
Just Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. And then cloud storage or local files?
Both.
Both. Yes. Last thing you Googled? Do you remember?
That was probably, I know what it was. The last thing I Googled was wood veneer surfaces that have acoustical felt.
Would that have a what?
Acoustical felt.
Ooh, very interesting.
Sound absorption.
Okay. And then last, what is one word that describes your relationship with technology?
Friendship.
Oh, I love it. So what an inspiring conversation with you, Amy. You are a designer who reminds us that a beautiful space isn't just about style. It's about how we feel and function in every day. I love how she blends creativity, intuition, and technology to design spaces that truly support how we work. Amy, thank you so much for joining me on the Cyber Savvy Woman. Before we wrap up, can you share your website or the best way for listeners to find you and connect with you online?
Sure. My company is called Mondolfo Interior Design, and you spell that Mondolfo Interior Design. And I have a website, www.mondolfointeriordesign.com, and you can connect with me through the website.
Perfect. And all of that information will be in our show notes. And to our listeners, I hope today's episode sparked a little inspiration for you to look at your own workspace and your own digital world with fresh eyes. Remember, being cyber savvy isn't just about security. It's about designing your life and business with confidence and intention. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a quick review, and share it with another woman who's building her own empowered tech smart business. Until next time, stay smart, secure, and a little bit savvy. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Cyber Savvy Woman podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Hey, thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.